Hey, honeys, it's been a moment. I've just been in the swirl of being bombarded by health challenges um, in my dear, intimate families and friends, and we're emerging. And yeah, it was a great reminder of this time around Bealtaina where it is a portal, right? It's like there's Samhain and there's Beltane, and every year I seem to forget that there is this. Anytime you have these Sabbats that are opening up and are very connected between the veils are very thin, remembering that as much as the celebration during this time is about spring and fecundity and the land rejoicing and birthing this next season to come, there's also this upwelling of what's beneath the surface that needs to be um, integrated and teased out. So every year I seem to forget that, and all I remember is the beautiful flower crowns and dancing the maypole and the festivities and the fire and the music. And I forget there's generally something that gets slammed. There's always this polarity, and especially as we've been going through the eclipse portal. I know for me, yeah, my daughter like broke her wrist on Baltana. Like she couldn't even stay for the fire. We had to take her to the ER, and it was really intense, and she had to get put under. And she's doing all right, but it was this, yeah, this life and death and challenge time, and so for me, something I wanted to talk about is to just segue into really what's alive for me because I am. You may not know this about me, but I am a birth enthusiast and really passionate about reclaiming and empowering people's ability to feel like they have a sovereign choice in how they want to birth their children and what that might look like support wise and doing it at home and having just systems of birth care that may be beyond just what the government can provide you through OHIP. And so, though this may be totally off brand, that's really what's alive for me. I just did a birth council here on the island where I live, where births have been technically deferred. Home births have been deferred, which means you're technically not allowed to have any home births. You have to like leave the island and go find an Airbnb or some rental for 2+ weeks while you wait for your baby. And understanding too that, just to give a little background, that of course there are many people that are needing to do that just due to their own birth experience and their body's capacity and different issues that is just comes with being on the island where there isn't the same amount of healthcare available. So that is something that just does happen. But to say that all home births are now needing to go there because our levels of support in the midwifery care have actually diminished is pretty due to a bunch of bureaucratic stuff. Anyways, I don't need to get into the technicalities, but it's been, yeah, this for me, this revival in myself of like, okay, firstly, nobody can say that you can't birth at home. What? Um, and what does it mean to restore this sense of autonomy and capacity to choose something for our birthing experience and for our children and for the lives that are innately connected to the birth experience. So I believe that all of our birth stories deeply affect how we relate to being alive on this planet, and trusting, of course, that each birth story is going to be unique to each of us depending on the the path that we have laid out before us. So I've actually added an interview that was done with me, a podcast, a while back, and it's where I go into a lot of magical, witchy experiences that I had with doing I mean, they call it a free birth. It was with my first daughter, and so you're welcome to listen to that and be inspired by that. And I mean, since then, I'm gonna have my third child, so there's been a lot of um, evolving of my relationship to the birth world, and I've had midwives at my one of my births, and I'm, just trying all these different ways of listening and honoring each unique child. And I think that's really important in this life and in just how we curate our experiences, is remembering, especially if you're tending children in whatever facet of life, is that each of them are so unique, and that uniqueness requires customizing how we care for them and how we bring support into their lives, and that each of our children are going to require different care. And so there is just a little bit about what's alive for me, and I'll share a little bit about the Beltane ritual that we did here. And I think maybe I'll put some pictures in this newsletter, but I just wanted to give a heads up. That's what's alive. And yeah, and then I have a month left. There's, I think, one spot left for a Deep Soul Journey until I go into maternity leave. So if you've been wanting to work with me, you better get that spot. And then I've got a few spots left for like doing curated custom rituals. And so if you're feeling called to work with me, I'm just being real honest that I think I have 3 weeks. I have 3 days left of working. I work mainly 1 day a week. So please reach out if you've been feeling the tickle, because it's going to be a moment before I'm available again. And just sending you all love with the sweet songs, the hummingbirds and the blooming hawthorns. And may you find something that you are passionate about today that sparks your joy and your creativity and your willingness to stretch yourself. All right, ciao.